So that was my new thing for the week, and it has to kind of do with the topic because I said it was a Japanese noodle, right? And that was totally unplanned. It just happened to be.
Sure.
Right.
But
right.
I besides for that, over the weekend I did just yesterday I did a Spartan super race.
Oh my God.
So that kind of more has to do with the topic that we're talking about today, right?
Yeah.
Which is ninjas.
Doing history.
We let it out of the bag.
We did.
Yeah.
The history of ninjas. But the Spartan
The
race.
Christmas edition.
That's why
the
we
Christmas-
dressed up. That's why we dressed
The
up.
Christmas
for it.
ninja. You should all know the tale.
Santa Claus is kind of ninja.
He is. He
Yes.
actually
Yeah,
enrolled in
right. He
ninja
was
school.
around.
First one. Yes.
He was-
The first
It's kinda
ninja
terrifying.
ever.
Right? Think about
Santa
it.
Claus.
Just sneaking around your house and stuff like that.
Right.
Dropping knowledge
Never
here.
here, never saw.
Never seen.
Yep.
No.
No, and then you leave him food.
He knows what you're doing all the time.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knows when I'm awake.
Yep.
I mean, half the time I don't even know.
Okay, back to ninjas.
We're on ninjas.
Oh, just that I did a Spartan super yesterday, and it wasn't my first time doing a super, but it involved a lot of ninja-like
Move.
techniques. Yes, because it's an obstacle course race, and you have to. Well, you don't have to, but a Spartan super means that you're doing a 10K, and there's 25 obstacles. A 10K is roughly like 6 point something miles. So it's not like horrible, but it's not like
Sounds like a
easy.
No,
And it's
not easy.
well, okay,
Sitting
yeah.
at home on the
Walking
couch.
6 miles is tough for
Right.
some people.
True, yeah.
True outs for that.
This was through like mud, different terrain, kind of like I don't want to say like it's like rough, but it was through farmland, so it wasn't like just a nice flat smooth path. It was very, you could step in a hole, or if you weren't like watching yourself, you could twist an ankle because there's lots of you think it's
Divots.
grass, but
Yeah.
it's a hole,
Some
and then there's
farmer's
like
land,
mud. Yeah, that's where they do them. They hold those obstacle courses there, and they do different things like you have to go over cargo nets. There's a rope climb as one of your obstacles. So I kind of
So it's
consider
like-
myself a ninja because I'm able to do stuff like that.
An elongated American Ninja Warrior.
Kind of. You know what? It is sort of like that, except there's different heats, so you don't have to be a competitive.
You're in the seniors.
Yes, because I'm 67 years old. There's different heats, or you can compete by age group or that type of thing, but I don't do the early competitive heats because I just do it more for like my own self and for fun. But if you sign up for like the later heats, there's no timing or no whatever. I mean, they still have a bib and a chip on you, so you can
bib.
keep track.
But
For
you
lobster.
can just do it in your own time.
Like your number, your bib. It's not. Yeah.
Okay. They
But-
should come up with a different name for that.
That's what they're
It's
called.
always
Confused
been
me.
called
I thought,
that.
It's always
I thought
been
we might
called
be
a
getting ribs at the end of this.
When you're done, we got a feast for you.
You can. They have like food trucks and stuff, but no, they have. You still keep track of your own time, and just to keep track of you where you are on the course, you have like a chip and you have like a bib, but it's not really a bib. Now it's morphed into a headband, but they still call it like a
Brothers
bib.
watching.
But you can still look up like your records and see like, oh, like last year I did the super, I actually beat my time by like 20 minutes this year, whatever. Like so you can still keep track, but it's
It's
not
like
like
a Fitbit.
yeah, but it's not like American Ninja Warrior where you're like, all right, go, and it's like crazy mad for like 2 minutes, because that's crazy. And that's usually what people think of when they think of ninja, is they think of like American Ninja Warrior.
Well, yeah.
Or they
Those
think
guys
of
are
That's
like
what popularized in
Yes.
America.
Yeah.
There's not one sword fighting match on
Right.
American Ninja Warrior.
correct.
It's a Monday.
Or
be.
like hand-to-hand combat.
Hand combat.
I know none of that.
Right.
Throwing knives.
Yeah, they don't kill one person.
Nuh-uh.
Really
No.
boring show. When you
Well,
think
it's
about
because it's in America. I bet if it was overseas or on a
Seen
ship.
those. Have you seen those
Yes.
Japanese
it.
shows?
Mortal Kombat. Like,
Oh my
Exactly.
gosh.
That's exactly
They
what's
torture themselves on some of those shows.
Yeah.
You know, I will say it's kind of fascinating how like as an American culture, we're kind of obsessed with ninjas. You know what I mean? Like it's a really cool story.
Do you know there's an International Ninja Day?
Oh,
There's a national everything. That
dude,
does
there's
not
a
surprise me.
ninja festival in California. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Bro, okay, 30 years too deep in this thing. 30 years they're into this, and tens of thousands of people go out into the street. It's an empty fucking road. You can't see shit because they're ninjas. What? No, I'm telling you, this is real. This is real. I wouldn't have believed it unless I saw this shit today. And it's a giant festival. Picture like how we block off downtown, right? But it's an empty street. and it's the Ninja
It's just
Festival.
people hiding in trash cans and fucking dropping from the rafters.
And there was a kid. He's like, I don't know how it happened, but now there's candy in my pocket. What? And he's just like, he has like candy in his, he didn't bring it there. And then and there was one thing, and then this newsreel that they had just showed. He's like, out of the 30 years or something, there's only been one time that the ninja or anything of the sort was caught on tape. And then they showed like on the top of a rooftop, some dude jumping from a roof to another roof in a ninja costume. And that's the only time a ninja has ever been seen during this festival.
Why do I feel like nobody shows up for it and they're just like, wow,
That's what it is.
these secret ninjas.
Telling everybody they've got a
Dude,
day
it's
off work.
genius.
Just
It's
stay indoors.
genius.
Don't come out.
Yeah.
Just stay home. You
Yeah.
get paid.
It's genius.
It's
They're like just a
fucking
bunch
is.
of white people out there being
Yeah.
like waiting for ninjas.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Funniest shit I've
my
seen like
gosh.
this year.
Gross is about $100. The whole thing.
We got to make T-shirts.
Yeah. Well, nobody can buy them.
They don't know where they are.
Can't find the motherfucker.
Yeah.
The vendor is no longer anywhere.
Between what do you got on these ninjas? Cat?
Well, yeah, like you said, it's kind of funny how like westernized it's kind of become, but the actual term ninja hasn't really been used until, in all respects, like more recently, because back in the day, as some of you might know from your research and stuff, it was called shinobi.
Shinobi, yeah.
And shinobi basically means one who hides or one who has stealth. So the word ninja didn't really come into existence until, I guess, like the first documented written down word that referred to the word ninja was not until the 8th century. I don't know if there's anything earlier than that. But as far as like that goes, I guess ninjas, as we know it in the sense, were more skilled in the tactics of like ambushing and spying and arson.
Espionage.
Yes,
Yeah.
Overt
espionage.
activity.
It wasn't like what you would think of like as an assassin, where they're just sneaking into houses and like killing people. I mean, maybe they did that, but it was very, very minimal.
Right.
At least that's what they would want you to think, right? Because they're ninjas.
They were hired by the government and samurai warriors, so that's
some
what they did.
fashion.
The work that they didn't want to do, that they didn't want to be seen doing.
Right, the dirty work.
Yes.
Yep. All
Yes,
that
they were
dirty
mercenaries.
Yes. Wanted to
So-
save face.
They're like the
But they
CIA
didn't.
and
They didn't
FBI
start out
kind
like
of
that, right? They. It was more of a rebel force, wasn't it? In feudal Japan.
Yep.
Right. It
That's
was
what I read.
something. It was something where, along the lines of with samurai, there were an elite class of military. I guess a group that were called the samurai, and they kind of predated ninjas by roughly 500 years. And the samurai were very noble. They, I guess, protected their feudal lords' land and properties or surrounding properties.
knights, almost.
Yeah, almost like knights, if you want to think of it that way. So they were seen as like these rock
Protectors,
stars.
yeah.
People turned to them for protection. And then I guess ninjas came into the scene because there was an era, a period, which was called the, let's see here, Sengoku period, which is from 1467 to 1568. So roughly 100 years. That was also known as the Age of Warring States. So a lot of feudal wars were happening in Japan. And so I guess the ninjas, as we know it, came out of necessity. And they were just basically, as I see it, were like common folk. Almost
peasants,
like, almost like, I don't want to kind of compare it to Star Wars, but kind of like the
was,
rebels.
yeah. Well, there was I know that there was at one point the feudal Japan. A lot of the feudal lords started collecting arms, started taking away weapons from the peasants, and the peasants were just hiding them in like their backyard. They weren't even allowed to have a blade. So and they also couldn't fight a samurai head to head because samurai was wearing all this armor. They're the only ones that had access to the armor or the weapons or even the training. So it was really just to police the entire state, if you will. And then all these peasants were like, well, let's just dress up in black and scare the shit out of these guys.
Yep. Hide
Yeah.
from them.
That's the only way they could confront them in some
was
cases.
to sneak up on them.
It's to sneak up on.
Shady.
Yeah.
Right. It was like that where you were saying how they took like away all arms and weapons and stuff, but because of that, that's how they kind of started using things that were more commonplace that were available to them, such
Farming
as
tools.
farm tools.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they had their farm tools or other tools that they would just improvise into weapons. And that's also why, by the way, because I took like karate many years ago, because I myself am a ninja. But I took a few years of karate back in college, and you wore a gi, right? And the sensei was kind of explaining about karate. It means like open hand, because like if you didn't have weapons available to you, what do you use? You just use your hands.
Right.
Yep.
You use your parts of your arm, you use parts of your elbow, whatever, your knee. So it means like empty-handed, basically, the word karate, right? And the gi was to still kind of pay homage to, back in the day, they wore peasant clothes. It was their farm clothes.
Yeah.
And so that was the
Makes
gi.
sense.
And the only thing that was like different was obviously your belt, because that was just to show your ranking. Yeah, as you trained more in the art of karate.
Right.
But
Karate.
but yeah, they were sort of like their own rebel force, and they had to come up with different tactics since they didn't have military training the way the samurai did. So they had to come up with their own, katas and their own ways of fighting.
That's like
Yeah.
capoeira almost, It's like
It was
hidden arts.
it's comparable to like guerrilla warfare, where you're a small force, there's a big force, and you
Yeah.
essentially you use their own. You essentially like
Use their strength against them.
yeah, like they're big and not very mobile. You're small and very mobile, and you can like when I was researching it, I found that like a lot of other times of war they used a lot of the same tactics. Espionage being one of them.
Hey, if it works, man,
Yeah, it's a smart way to go about dismantling a giant force. Really.
Right. And plus, it's like if that's the samurai were used to like kind of like face-to-face combat, because that was like the noble way, right? Like man to man. So for them, anything other than that was looked down upon. You're very like dishonorable or unsavory, as they would say.
Yeah.
So because they were sort of like a lower class in their eyes, they in a sense had an advantage.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't like stoop down to sneaking around or to ambushing or
Right.
to that type of thing. So it was like, okay, well,
Let the ninjas do it.